Hello, everyone, and welcome to our virtual cooking class, the last one, at least for this month, right?
Mhm.
And we are joined by our teacher today, Jonna from the OSU Ross County Extension Office.
Hi, everybody.
And what are we making today, Jonna?
We're going to talk a little bit about fruit and ways to get that fruit into our snacks. I mean, it's getting to be that season where ball practices are starting up, kids are in all the extracurricular activities, we're outside doing stuff. So I want to show you a couple quick things that you can do that are a healthy, nutritious snack that you can throw together real quick and not have to worry about being in the kitchen when you'd rather be out doing something else. Okay,
Great,
so
sounds
it's
amazing.
it's going to be fun. So go ahead and put the first slide up there, Rachel, and we'll get started. So just want to go over again. This will be, as Rachel said, the last virtual class for this series, the Making My Plate Work for You. Next week we'll be live at the Northside Library, so everybody put that on our calendars. We hope to see you there. But today I'm going to talk a little bit about that red section, and then we're going to throw a little bit of that green section in there at the latter part of the class. But we're going to talk about fruits and how to get those in your diet, like I said. And then in the bottom corner, just want to throw out that plug for the celebrateyourplate.org. That is SNAP Ed, which is the program that I work for, Highest SNAP Ed. That is our website, and I just got notification yesterday that they just downloaded like another 25, 30 recipes on there. So there's some new stuff. Have been on there for a while. Go check it out. There's some really good new recipes on there. And then always, check out the My Plate Gov. That is where you can find anything nutrition related. The USDA puts all the important information as far as the guidelines for our diets. And there's also a section on there with some really awesome recipes. So check it out. They put new ones on all the time. Okay, Rachel, let's go on to the next slide. So as I said, we're talking about fruits today, and that is, you can see there, just a little less than a quarter of the plate a day. And talking about adult recommendations based on a 2,000 calorie diet a day, we should have at least 2 cups as adults in our diet. But I'm going to talk a little bit more about that on the next couple slides. So for the next slide, we're going to talk about how much we do need actually. Okay, 2,000 calories, that could be, we may not be taking that much caloric count in every day. So it's really based on our age, our gender, our height, our weight, our physical activity, and what our doctors are telling us. Because there are some people, if you have diabetes, maybe need to limit your fruit. If you are short on some vitamins, you may need to up your intake on some different fruits. So really you need to be, checking. If you have any medical problems at all, you need to be checking with your doctor. What I'm giving you here are just basic general recommendations through the USDA. But if you have any kind of medical conditions, please speak with your doctor. Most of the time, women they can depend on whether they're pregnant or breastfeeding too. If that's the case, you're going to have to up your intake just a little bit, and you can find the right amounts by going to the My Plate plan, which is a really good, nice app that you can download on your phone from My Plate, and it talks a lot about the different intakes on all nutrients, especially the fruits and vegetables. So what is a cup of fruit? We don't always have a measuring cup, right? So in general, a cup of fruit or 100% fruit juice or half a cup of dried fruit is going to be considered a cup too. And that's going to be a general number you're going to shoot for. But how do we know that? Okay, I've talked about before. About a piece of fruit about the size of your fist is going to be about a cup. The cup palm of your hand is going to be about a half cup. So you can use your hand as a tool to look to see what you're going to be getting. But if we need 2 servings of fruit, and you have an apple that is about the size of your fist and a banana that's about the size of your other fist, there's 2 cups of fruit right there. So it's really easy to kind of visualize what we need and what our daily intake should be. So the next slide will show us by age what we should be getting. And it starts out for toddlers, 12 months to 23 months. Of course, any child under the age of 12 months should be strictly formula or breast milk. And so we're going to start with 12 months and older. They should be getting about a half cup to a cup. So a half a cup of applesauce and maybe a half a banana, they're good for the day. And then it just generally increases throughout your lifespan. 2 to 4 years is going to go to 1 to 1.5 cup, up into for adolescents from 9 to 18, they're going to need anywhere from 1.5 to 2 cups. Those 14 to 18-year-old boys might need the 2 and 2.5 cups because they're just going to be larger in stature, so they're going to need just a little more nutrients that way. And for adults, women, we're going to be pretty consistent from the time we're 18 and over. 1.5 to 2 cups of fruit a day is going to pretty much balance our diet out. And then the guys are going to be just a little bit more. From 18 to 60, they're going to be 2 to 2.5 cups, and over 60, about 2 cups. So if we keep that 2-cup number in our mind, we're pretty much covering what we need as far as nutrition from the fruits in our diets. All right, Rachel, if you want to bring it back to me, we'll go ahead and get started with these recipes I promised you. So our first one, and these will be in the chat box on the website, on Facebook or YouTube, wherever you're watching this. And the first one's going to be a fruit tart. And these are really fun to make for the kids. So I want to start off by using whole wheat bread, okay? And you know that it is whole wheat bread by looking at your ingredient panel there, and it says whole wheat flour is your first ingredient. So we know, even though it says 100% wheat on the front, you always want to check on your label to make sure you're getting 100% grain, okay? So let me, bouncing you around here. Let me change up the screen here so you can see what I'm doing. So we're going to use this bread as the base for our tart, or kind of like a little mini pie. And your recipe is going to tell you to do 4 slices or 6 slices. Well, there's only a couple people in the house tonight, so I'm only going to do 4 slices. See my kid-safe knife? It is totally plastic. Will not cut little fingers. And it's actually a lettuce knife. I got this at a local department store, or you can actually go into Amazon and they sell the kid-safe knives. But they're a lightweight plastic, and they will not cut skin. They can damage a little bit if you put too much pressure, but the average child's not going to be able to do that. But I'm going to take this knife and I'm going to cut the crust off of this bread. Okay? And I'm going to lay that to the side. And you see how easy that knife, even though it's not a sharp knife, see how easy it goes through that bread. You just got to saw just a little bit. So the kiddos can do this no problem at all. And technically, if you wanted to, you could leave that crust on there, but it just makes for a prettier tart when you cut it off. So that's the only reason we're doing it. And you can save these crusts and you can turn them into croutons for salad by toasting them up and tossing them with a little bit of olive oil and some seasoning. So I've got my 4 little tarts there, and then I'm going to take my handy dandy bowling pin, and I'm just going to roll these out, flatten them out until they're about 1/8 of an inch thick. And this is where the fun part comes in. Kids love doing this. Okay. So you can see there, well, maybe I need to flip them over and roll them just one little bit more. Nice look at my elbow there, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, so just a little bit flatter. And you just want to make them so they're going to get nice and crispy. We're going to put these in the oven at 350 degrees. I'm just going to lay them on a baking pan here. And we're going to put them in the oven for about, 5-10 minutes. And while we're doing that, we're going to cut up the fruit for our tart. So 350 for about 5 or 10 minutes. Pop those in there. And then I've got my fruit. Well, actually, I'm going to make my dressing, or my filling for our fruit tarts here. So I've got some low-fat cream cheese that I've had sitting out at room temperature. So it's been sitting out for about about an hour. So it's going to be nice and pliable. I want to use all of it because I want to use part of it for our other dish we're going to make. So I'm going to put this into the bowl. And let me get the bread out of the way so I can get to the rest of my tools. So our filling is going to be made out of the cream cheese, some skim milk, which I got to grab out of the refrigerator here real quick. So I'm going to take some skim milk, and we're going to use about 1.5 tablespoons of this skim milk with this cream cheese. You can use any type of milk you've got. If you have a dairy intolerance, of course, the cream cheese might be a little problem. But you can use any type of milk you have on hand. You got whole milk, you can use that. You got 1%, 2%. If you've got almond milk, soy milk, whatever your family uses works just fine with this. But it's going to be used to thin this cream cheese out a little bit. So I'm just going to smoosh that around and get it mixed together a little bit. And then I'm going to add in about 2 tablespoons of honey. And I've just got the standard little honey bear. that we all know and love. There we go. So maybe I should have took that cap off. He's a little hard to squeeze. He's a full bear. Trick that I normally do, I didn't do this time, is you can take a little bit of cooking spray and spray whatever you are measuring your honey into, and then put the honey in, and it usually just slides right out. It's a good trick to have to make sure, especially if you're putting it into a measuring cup where it tends to want to stick and you can't get it out very easy. Just a little bit of cooking spray solves that problem. Okay, so there's that. And then we're going to use about 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla, and I've got my huge bottle of vanilla that I've been using forever. Did you know that vanilla never goes bad? As long as you keep it in a cool, dark place, it will be good forever. Okay, so there's a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. And then I'm just going to slowly stir this together, and it will be a little messy if you're not careful. So you got to make sure that you stir a little slowly. And I may have to get a whisk. My cream cheese wasn't quite as soft as I wanted it. Let me get a whisk here real fast. And the nice thing about this is all you're getting with this is the natural sugars of the fruit that we're going to use and the honey. So you're not going to be getting a lot of added corn syrup or anything like that, like you would get if you were using a jam or something like that for your base for this tart. Okay. And it makes just like a dressing almost. Okay. So we're going to set this to the side. And then we're going to use some fresh fruit. Okay, so I've got a banana, I've got a kiwi, and I've got some really nice, the strawberries are looking really good in the grocery stores right now because they're coming up from Florida. They're getting ripe down there. Here in a few months, we're going to have our own Ohio strawberries, which I can't wait to have, but we'll wait on those. And then I'm just going to slice these up in just like little slices. We're going to lay these onto our tarts once we get them out of the oven. Okay. And I like cutting them on the side like that because they kind of look like little hearts. Makes a nice little pattern. And that's the fun part about this is you're not only are you making a snack, it's kind of be like an art project with the kids because they get to decorate their own. I got a leaf stuck in my finger. Get to decorate their own little tart and make it their own. So that's half the fun, right? Okay, so get our strawberries all cut up. Let's do one more. And it doesn't have to be strawberry, kiwi, and banana. It can be whatever fruits you've got on hand. It can be some peaches. It can be some pears. It could be apple. But you do want to cut them thin so that you can layer them onto the tarts. And they're not really hard to, especially if you're using the harder fruits, you don't want them to be hard to chew through, right? Okay. A couple more slices, we got them done. And then I'm going to cut this kiwi, cut the ends off of it. If you've never used a kiwi before, they do have a little hard core at the end, in the center, on the ends of them, so you have to be careful of that. But I'm going to cut this in half, and then I'm going to take a spoon, which I thought I had laying right here, and you can just go around the inside of your skin on your kiwi, just run it around like that. And lo and behold, it's been peeled. Okay? Makes it so much easier than trying to sit there and peel that off with a paring knife. And then we're just going to do the same thing. We're just going to cut it into thin slices. And then as you can see that little core thing I was talking about, that's a little harder to bite into it. So you want to make sure you keep that out of the kiwi. Okay, we'll set that to the side. And then good old handy dandy banana. We all know how to take care of that. We're just going to peel him and then slice him up into small pieces. Now, if you don't like the cream cheese, you can always use a vanilla yogurt with this, and you're going to get the same effect. If you don't have a vanilla yogurt, you can flavor it up just like I did the cream cheese with the honey and the vanilla. If you've got plain yogurt, make sure you're trying to use a low-fat yogurt so you're watching that fat intake. You can use any type of fruit. You can use, I've already said that, but you can use grapes on this as well. I've done that, and they're really good on this. Okay. All right, let's check on our toast. Okay. All right. They are getting nice and toasty, so let me get our plate over here. Slide the cutting board out of the way. And you see how we got nice and toasty around the edges? So I'm going to find my spoon again. Got my cream cheese mixture, and this is a little thin, so you're just going to kind of drizzle it on here, okay? You can make it thicker if you like it, but I like it where it kind of sinks down into the bread just a little bit and gives you a little bit of sweetness down inside the bread. Almost makes it have a, like a pie crust type where the juice is cooked into it. But you can, as I said, you can make it thicker, and that's totally up to you. And as I said, my cream cheese wasn't quite as warm as I should have probably popped that in the microwave just a little bit. And then I'm just going to take my strawberries and I'm going to lay them around and just make a nice little pattern with my berries. And then maybe a couple pieces of kiwi in there and maybe a banana on top. You can lay the kiwi around the edges. You can make whatever fruit combination you like best. Okay, and then maybe a little, oh, there's a nice little flower there. So the kids have a ball doing this. They can decorate them up any way they want to. And then if you have anything like maybe some fresh mint, you also can throw that on there and give it a little more extra flavor that way. So there we go. Fruit tarts. So that works out well. And you're getting your dairy, you're getting whole grains, and you're getting fruit. So you got 3 food groups here. And if you eat one of these, that's probably about a 1/4 cup of fruit. So that's going to satisfy, especially for a child, about half of their daily, or well, not half, about 1/3 of what they're going to need for their daily requirement. Okay? All right, so there's our fruit tarts. We'll set those aside. And now we're going to talk a little bit about some veggies. I know we're talking about fruit, but you know, veggies need their time too. So we're going to talk a little bit how we can get those into our snacks. So I've got another recipe here for a veggie roll-up. And these are made with whole wheat tortillas and the same cream cheese, only instead of being a sweet, we're going to do a savory. And it's going to have some onion powder and Italian seasoning. I personally will put both in there. And then some chopped fresh vegetables, and we're going to put them on this tortilla and wrap it up and then cut them, and it makes a really nice little pinwheel type snack. So let's get started on that one, okay? So got our veggies here. I've got a carrot, and we want to make sure, let me get the fruit off of my knife. We're going to slice up these veggies and get them so that they will work on this wrap. So I've got my handy dandy potato peeler here, or carrot peeler, whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to take that outside off. Now carrots, if you're cooking them, I always just scrub them up really well and leave that skin on. But to be eating them raw, the skin can maybe have a little bit of a bitter taste to it, and when you're wanting the little ones to eat that, you don't want to have that bitter flavor in there, right? So if you got a shredder, you can do it that way, or I like to just take my peeler and then just do it this way. And you got these nice flat, pretty little strips of carrot, and I'm going to put this inside the tortilla, and they work out really good. And you want it to take it down, you know, get a good amount. Okay, so there's our carrots. Put those over here to the side. I've got a little bit of a bell pepper. I used half of this for another recipe earlier today, so we're going to use part of this bell pepper. and I'm going to cut it up into just some thin strips. So they kind of like are on the same thickness and feel as what the carrots are. Not quite as thin, but they'll be pretty thin. Okay. And then my last thing I've got I got a big chunk there. I got to slice that in half. I can't leave that too big. I've got some cherry tomatoes, and these are going to add a little extra moisture and flavor to our wrap. Okay. And those we're just going to, as you can see, I'm going to kind of cut them in quarters and leave them like that. Oops. Forgot to cut that one up. Got ahead of myself, didn't I? And the same thing holds true for this. You can use any type of vegetables you've got. I have used, a little bit of onion would be good in this as well. You can use broccoli, you can use cauliflower, you can use some minced up celery. Whatever you happen to have on hand works out great. So I've got the rest of my cream cheese here. So I'm going to take about, let's see, it calls for 2 tablespoons of reduced fat cream cheese, which I've got here, and then about a teaspoon of onion powder. Maybe a little bit lighter on the onion powder. Okay. And then about a half a teaspoon of the Italian seasoning. Oops, I'm going to get a new jar. This one's getting kind of low, isn't it? You want to make this, like I said, this is a savory dish here. So I got to keep putting my elbow in front of you guys. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to whip this together with the cream cheese and make a spread out of it. Okay. And you want to make sure that, especially the onion powder, you want to make sure it's mixed in really good, because a big bite of just plain onion powder in there is going to go woo when you bite into it. Okay. So it's just a nice, balanced, shaking my hand, I just got 7,000 steps on my tracker. That was a pretty good deal. Didn't even have to move. All right. So there we go. See, cooking can be good for you as far as exercise. Let me grab a plate here and we'll throw one of our whole wheat tortillas. And again, you want to look at that ingredient panel, and sure enough, whole wheat flour is our first ingredient, so we know we're getting a whole grain here. If it says enriched, we know that it's a processed grain, and you may be getting something in there besides a whole grain. All right, so now I'm going to take my fork and I'm going to spread this cream cheese onto my tortilla. You're going to spread it out close to the edges as you can get. Actually, I got a little spatula here. It's going to work a little better for this. I keep throwing that fork away, don't I? And again, this is something that's really easy for the kids to make, and it's really tasty. And it's a lot better than pulling something out of a packet that you have to worry about what's in it. If it's like, a lot of times you can buy that prepackaged stuff, even a bag of chips. You're getting all that sodium, you're getting preservatives. You never know exactly what's in there. This way, you know pretty much what's in this snack because you just mixed it all together yourself. All right, so now I got my cream cheese all spread out. I'm just going to start laying my veggies on here. You want to put them clear across because we're going to roll this up like a pinwheel. And then we're going to put our bell peppers on there. And our tomatoes. Spread them all out there. Let's put a few more carrots on there. And then you're just going to take the edge and you're going to tightly wrap this. And you got to take your fingers and keep poking your veggies back under until you've got a really tight wrap. Okay. Okay, so there we go. We got that nice little wrap there, right? Take my hands off. So now I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to, first one's not going to be so pretty. And sometimes it works better too with these if you let them kind of chill up in the refrigerator a little bit, but I'm kind of in a hurry tonight. So as you can see, you're going to cut these to about 1 inch thick. See that pretty little center there? You got all your veggies in there. You got your cream cheese. You got your dairy. You got your veggies, and you got your whole grains. And these look really pretty sitting out on a plate. These make like a nice little hors d'oeuvre where you can use them for a family get together or something like that. Instead of the tarts, you could actually cut these tarts up. You could make them into like what they, I think they call them petite fours. You could cut your breads into fours and put just a couple pieces of fruit on them and make like little hors d'oeuvres for a cookout or a picnic. And you can really, the kids can have a ball making those. And also, and I forgot to mention too, if you have like a theme, if you want colors, well, that cream cheese is white, so you can put a color in there too. You can color them up with a little bit of food coloring. And be careful with the dyes, but you can make it, a little more festive too. So there's all kinds of stuff you can do. So what do you think, Rachel?
I think that looks fantastic.
These are really good. I love these. These are one of my favorite snacks.
So do you consider tomato and bell pepper, you consider that to be a vegetable or fruit?
Well, that has been debated for years. My thought, and this is just my thought, if it is more of a savory flavor, it's a vegetable. Okay. Like a tomato is more of there are some recipes where you put sugar on tomatoes. I personally don't like them. So if it's a savory flavor, it's a vegetable. If it's sweet, it's a fruit. But that's just me. And I know, if you get technical and you can talk to my my counterparts at the extension office, or you get in with all the ag and everything, it came from a seed. Hey, I agree, but it tastes like something salty to me. So it's savory. It's a vegetable.
Either way, it looks really colorful and really good.
Yes.
And super, super easy, super simple.
Yeah, these are great. I love these. I've made these for my grandkids before. These little fruit tarts, and they taste really good. The honey is just the right amount of sweetness in there. You can add in things like cinnamon if you want to make them just a little spicier, and even some cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves if you really want to kick up some spice. You can. I always try to go sugar free, but if you want to put in just like a little swirl of strawberry preserves or something like that to give them just a little more color too, you can really have a heyday with these things. It's nice to just toast up the bread, put out the fruit, put out the spreads, and let the kids have at it, or let the adults have at it. I have fun making them. So whatever works. Get those fruits and veggies in them. Whatever works. All age groups. Get them in there. So.
Great. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. And like I said, next week we're going to be at Northside at 4 o'clock.
Which means we'll have food in person.
Yeah, I am going to be bringing in some things that can be sampled. I'm not sure. Liz is not around. We can't ask her what she's got planned. I think she might have something planned too. So
we'll see.
Come hang out with us. If nothing else, we'll we'll have a good time and have a good conversation. And I promise not to bore you.
Yeah, hopefully good food, and it'll be good.
It will be.
Thank you so much, Donna.
Thank you, Rachel. Everybody have a good weekend, and I'll see you hopefully next week.
Yeah, see you next time.
Bye-bye.